So guys, welcome to Star Wars Week. I'm really excited to do Star Wars Week this year because I'm going to be talking about the original trilogy. Reviewing the original trilogy was actually kind of difficult because there was just so much that I wanted to talk about. By the way, it should go without saying, but there are spoilers here if you haven't seen Star Wars, but honestly, if that's the case, then what are you doing? What have you been doing? Pause this video and go watch Star Wars. Now, I could have gone with more of a typical review of the movie, but instead, when I started writing, I just asked myself the question, why do people love Star Wars? I mean, we all have our own reasons. I know I have my own reasons. But when you look at the Star Wars fan base, it's easy to see that it spans all ages, race, gender. So, what is it about this story that so many people connect to? Well, I think there's a lot of things that make the story of Star Wars a great one, but I'd like to start off with a thing that every story needs, and that's conflict. Conflict helps make a story interesting because it engages the audience. Whenever there's a conflict on screen, big or small, you're interested to see the outcome. Star Wars is chock full of conflict. It's everywhere. I mean, the title should indicate that. And it's not just that it has a lot of conflict, but that it's between a lot of interesting characters with distinct personalities. Any great writer will tell you that it's important to include conflict in every scene, and right from the beginning of Star Wars, the first shot is of conflict. Seeing the rebel ship fighting with and being pursued by the Empire's Star Destroyer really sets the stage visually for the almost David and Goliath theme that will go on not just through the movie, but through the rest of the saga. Another big reason why people love Star Wars is because it follows the hero's journey, also known as the monomyth, which was outlined by Joseph Campbell in his book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces. It's a story structure that you've probably seen many times. I'm going to go through the 12 different stages of the hero's journey and show you where they are in the movie, even though it's pretty obvious if you looked at just a basic outline. Basically, the hero's journey goes as follows. The first stage is the ordinary world. This is really the introduction to the character and the world the character lives in. In the case of Star Wars, it's Luke living on Tatooine and working on his uncle's moisture farm. I mean, seriously, doesn't that sound like the most exciting job ever? Farming moisture? Yeah, I can't wait to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow to go harvest those drops of water. Anyways, this stage also helps the audience connect to the character, because if we don't care about the character, we won't care what happens to the character. Then there's a call to adventure.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
What's this?
The next two stages include the hero refusing the call and meeting with the mentor. In Star Wars, these two stages happen in opposite order, but that really doesn't matter. The mentor in this case is of course Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You must learn the ways of the Force, if you're to come with me to Alderaan.
And then of course there's Luke's refusal to the call.
I'm not going to Alderaan. I've got to get home. It's late. I'm in for it as it is.
I need your help, Luke.
I can't get involved. I've got work to do. It's not that I like the Empire. I hate it, but there's nothing I can do about it right now.
Crossing the threshold is what kicks off the second act. It's when our hero commits to going on the journey. The hero's decision is usually spurred on by some sort of event, like finding everything and everyone you love has been burned to the ground.
There's nothing for me here now. I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
The next stage is tests, allies, and enemies, which is pretty much exactly as it sounds. The hero is going to be challenged by different characters, which may be enemies or allies, which will be good preparation for the challenges he'll face further along in his journey. The next stage is approach the Inmost cave. Now, the cave can be an actual location which holds great danger, or something internal that the character has to face. During the approach to the cave, the hero may be preparing himself for the challenges that will come, and this could be physical preparation or psychological preparation. It also gives some build-up to the cave, letting the audience know that there's going to be an ordeal ahead.
Why are we still moving towards it?
We're caught in a trap and it's pulling us in.
Which is what the next stage is, the ordeal, which in Star Wars is pretty much the combination of all the deadly situations Luke finds himself in while inside the Death Star. The reward for surviving the ordeal can be many different things. It doesn't have to be an actual physical object. In a lot of cases, the reward can be a change that has occurred within the hero, like a revelation or newfound courage. The road back sees our hero make his way back to the ordinary world, even though the journey is not finished, and there's still one thing left to do. In this case, the road back is leaving the Death Star and going to the Rebel base. The resurrection is really the climax to the story. It's the final battle that the hero will engage in, and it usually involves the culmination of everything he's learned so far.
Use the Force, Luke. Let go, Luke.
The final battle also has a lot riding on it. Usually if the hero loses, it will mean the suffering of not just him, but many others as well. In this case, it's the rest of the galaxy. And finally, the return with the elixir. This is the final stage when our protagonist returns back to the ordinary world as a hero and is celebrated for everything he has achieved. Another part of what makes Star Wars so great is its ability to appeal to people of all ages. Star Wars was originally intended for kids, but it's easy to see why adults love it as well. It's a classic story of good versus evil, and it's set in space with all sorts of cool things like spaceships, aliens, lasers, robots, bar fights. The characters in Star Wars are so memorable because of how distinct they are from each other, and not just visually, but in their personalities. This of course creates conflict between them, even if they're on the same side, and makes for interesting interactions. And while these characters may be distinct from each other, you will still find these same character archetypes in other stories that follow the hero's journey. The movie even has characters like R2-D2, who doesn't speak any human language and only communicates through a series of robotic sounds, yet still has his own personality and manages to be one of the most endearing characters. It also helps that the movie is pretty much timeless. The story doesn't take place on Earth or during any specific time period at all. It isn't based on anything that was going on specifically in the 1970s or reference anything in 70s culture. It just says it's from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And I think that, combined with the story structure, characters, clever use of practical effects, and of course John Williams' amazing score, are what helps spark a passionate fan base that still grows today. Like I said in the beginning of the video, we all have our own reasons for liking Star Wars, and in addition to all the things I just listed, one of the big reasons why I love Star Wars so much is because it reminds me of the things I loved when I was a kid. Yes, things were easier in 1995. I could love movies for simple reasons instead of going deep and analyzing them like I just did. Who knew that 20 years later I would be a bigger Star Wars fan than ever before? If I could go back in time to the 90s, would I tell my younger self that? Probably not. I would actually tell him to not get so excited for The Phantom Menace. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my review of A New Hope, and I'll be back with my next review on The Empire Strikes Back. And in the meantime, if you want, in the comment section, feel free to talk about your favorite parts from the movie.